President Donald Trump has declared victory in last night's midterm elections, despite the fact the Democratic Party won control of the House of Representatives. Speaking at the White House moments ago, Trump said he was proud of the Republican Party's performance at the polls.
There have been only 4 midterm elections since 1934 in which a president's party has gained even a single Senate seat. As of now, we picked up, it looks like 3, could be 4, perhaps it could be 2, but we picked up a lot. In 2010, President Obama's first midterm, he lost 63 seats. By contrast, as of the most current count, looks like around 27 House seats or something, and we'll figure that out pretty soon. We also had a slew of historic wins in the governor's races. The governor's races were incredible, against very well-funded, talented, and skilled Democrat candidates and people that worked very, very hard, respectfully, for those candidates, like Oprah Winfrey, who I like. I don't know if she likes me anymore, but that's okay. She used to. But she worked very hard in Georgia, very, very hard.
RT America was following all of the action for you here on election night. Correspondent Trinity Chavez was a part of our special coverage and has been monitoring some of the key races decided or left undecided last night as a result of the vote. Trinity, what are you tracking for us?
Yeah, so some big moments from last night, including the Democrats taking control of the House and the GOP keeping the Senate. But American voters really took this opportunity to make their voices be heard, and it was reflected in the numbers. Over 113 million votes were cast, and that's more than the 88 million back in 2014. And this year, it seems that most of the voters were actually concerned about health care. Meanwhile, history was made last night with a record number of women elected to the House of Representatives. And next year, more than 100 women will serve in the House. That's more than ever before. And speaking of women, here in New York, Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was elected last night to represent the New York's 14th district. She's only 29 years old, and now she and Iowa Democrat Abby Finkenor, now the youngest women elected in Congress. The Democrats, as I mentioned, taking back the House, flipping nearly 30 seats from red to blue. While the Republicans remain in control of the Senate, President Trump called last night a big victory, as we just heard, and the White House has been taking a lot of the credit for that. In fact, many of the states, if not all, where President Trump campaigned for were hugely successful for Republicans. In Texas, Republican incumbent Ted Cruz won a second term in the Senate, defeating Beto O'Rourke. Trump heavily campaigned for Cruz and calling him Beautiful Ted, despite their volatile past and being harsh critics of one another. President Trump also campaigned hard for Republican Mike Braun in Indiana, who was elected to the U.S. Senate. This state in particular, President Trump won 2 years ago by over 20%, so it's definitely a huge win for Republicans. But many say that it still could be too early for Republicans to celebrate in Florida. While it appears that Rick Scott, he won the Senate race against the incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson last night, now Nelson has officially called for a recount. Right now, Scott leads Nelson by about 34,000 votes, but under Florida law, a recount is automatically triggered by under a 0.5% lead. Another race that could also be up in the air is the governor's race in Georgia, where Democrat Stacey Abrams, an African-American, has not conceded, saying that there was uncounted ballots. Abrams has already had to fight a civil rights campaign against voter suppression, many saying that the voting process was made harder, preventing many people from voting. But we'll bring you all the latest updates with that. But I want to go back to Florida for a minute to talk about another big moment from last night. The state has approved an amendment that'll automatically restore voting rights to more than 1 million people previously convicted of felonies. This means that felons, if they finish their full sentences, including fines, probations, and parole, they'll now be able to vote in that state. But the new law doesn't apply to anyone convicted of murder or sex offenses. So definitely a lot of milestones made last night, Anya.
All right, thanks so much, Trinity.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.